Welcome to Tuesday Live. I am Omini Odan. It's a countdown to the inauguration of a new administration in the country at the national level, at the state levels, and after then, we'll say the public governance structure has taken off in the country. Our focus tonight is in the legislature. Precisely after the 9th of June this year, the 9th National Assembly will be inaugurated. The All Progressives Congress, the ruling party, has zoned certain positions for Senate and the House of Representatives Speaker. This is in its zoning bid to engender balancing and equity in the power sharing amongst the zones. The constitution of the leadership of the 9th National Assembly, many believe, has already generated unnecessary controversy, which should not be, given that the APC has the majority of seats, with candidates of tested character and worth. There are those who think that the current leadership battle for the 9th National Assembly is not any different from the situation in the 8th National Assembly and likely to come out with surprises. How true? Why so much interest in the leadership of the 9th National Assembly? What do you deduce from Senate President Bukola Saraki and Speaker Yakubu Dogara's statements that the independence of the legislature was non-negotiable, more so that the lawmakers would choose their leaders themselves at the appropriate time? These are the concerns we'll be looking at on Tuesday Live tonight, but after this background report put together by Ignatius Shunko.
The journey of the 8th National Assembly took off with the inauguration of members-elect from all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory on the 9th of June 2015. After the emergence of presiding officers amidst high-level power play against the will of the ruling party, legislative business commenced with the announcement of standing committees. The Senate's first major oversight function was the confirmation of ministerial nominees from the President and the subsequent passage of the 2015 supplementary budget. For the House of Representatives, it was the passage of that supplementary budget. The 8th National Assembly has passed 3 annual budgets, 2016, 2017, and 2018. The 2016 budget was controversial as some members of the House of Representatives accused their leadership of padding the budget.
There was serious scrutiny of the budget. Unlike in those days when the budget comes on Monday, it is passed on Wednesday, on Thursday.
With 4 years almost gone, the National Assembly has passed more than 200 bills. These include the National Institute for Cancer Research Treatment Establishment Bill, Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Act Amendment Bill, the Food Security Bill, Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, and the Northeast Development Commission Bill.
That will be charged specifically with the responsibility of reconstruction and rehabilitation of the Northeast as a result of the destruction occasioned by the Boko Haram insurgency.
To liberate the Northeast from the Boko Haram insurgency.
The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Agency Establishment Bill, Whistleblowers Protection Bill, the Nigerian Diaspora Commission Bill, National Child Protection and Enforcement Bill, the National Transport Commission Bill, and the Not Too Young to Run Bill were also among the major achievements of the 8th National Assembly. The 8th National Assembly also considered more than 28 constitutional alteration bills, and recently the new National Minimum Wage Bill.
Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
This administration has fulfilled its promise to do this, give a new national minimum wage to the Nigerian workers, and it has fulfilled that promise.
The TSA, which has come out to be an intervention that has saved a lot of money for the government, came as a result of a motion which we passed.
Bill on the establishment of Institute of Cancer Development and Cure of Cancer, which had been assented to by the President.
More than 30 bills did not receive presidential assent. Some are being reconsidered. These include the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill and the Constitutional Alteration Bill, which seeks to mandate the executive to present annual budgets 3 months to the end of the year. The 8th National Assembly passed resolutions on several national issues, such as halting the planned hike of data by Nigerian Communications Commission. and also initiated the National Assembly Joint Public Hearing on Budget and the Business Environment Roundtable.
Nigeria had a movement by almost 24 points in the ease of doing business ranking by the World Bank. This was as a result of the National Assembly Business Environment Roundtable.
The House of Representatives, on the other hand, convened sectoral debate where ministers were invited to make submissions on how to improve the economy and pull it out of recession, especially through diversification. Within the period under review, the legislature and executive relationship has been described as cordial.
I want to believe that it is only better when the two arms of government will imbibe the spirit of the separation of power and the rule of law.
Apart from disagreement between some heads of government agencies, the 8th National Assembly has had some controversial bills as well, including the bill that sought to regulate social media, which was eventually thrown out. The Senate in the last 4 years had suspended 2 of its members, reshuffled the leadership of its standing committees twice. However, the invasion and snatching away of the Senate maize in April 2018 by unknown persons was a turning point in the life of the 8th Senate. While the House of Representatives reshuffled its standing committees once and suspended one of its members. However, the 8th National Assembly has faced a number of criticisms, ranging from the call by some Nigerians to cut their pay package and their inability to commence full implementation of the e-Parliament as contained in its legislative agenda. With 1 month to the end of this assembly, the question now is, will the 9th Assembly draw from the happenings in the outgoing assembly to build on a robust legislative assembly come June 2019? Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
That backgrounder by Ignatius Nkwo sets the path for the discussion tonight on Tuesday Live, which is a periscope into the 9th National Assembly, which is a countdown for inauguration. Well, as usual, at some point, we shall be taking phone calls, and if the time gets there, when we take your call, you turn down the volume of your set and put your issue straight. Go straight to the point, you don't need to rigmarole, and we'll get the program done within time. Well, I have a full house. To my immediate left, I have His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, Right Honorable Simon Lanong. Thanks for joining us Tuesday night.
Thank you very much.
Also tonight is the Senator representing Kano North Senatorial District, Senator Jibrin Barau. He's also Chairman, Senate Committee, Tertiary Education and Debt Fund. It's good to have you on Tuesday Live.
Good to be with you. Good evening.
Chief Michael Ajayi is a political analyst and a public affairs commentator. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Beautiful. Well, within the ambit of separation of powers, people will say you have the brain box and you have the engine room. The legislature is called the brain box, while the engine room is the executive. And each time there's a build-up to this, you find all sorts of interest. But let me start with the people. People, because you are out there, they are in here. Ajayi, what is your expectation? But before we do that, from Kaduna Network Center, we have the Honorable Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Kaduna State, and political scientist in our Kaduna Network Center, Professor Kabir Rumatu. It's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and good evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, I was overwhelmed. I forgot about him. So, in a few words, what will you say? What are your expectations for the 9th National Assembly?
Well, my expectations are so many. I would expect that the 9th Assembly should improve on the performance of the 8th Assembly. We want to see a harmonious relationship between the executive and the National Assembly. We want quick passage of bills, no delay of our budgets, just as it has happened in the past. You recall that the President submitted his budget to the National Assembly on the 19th of December, thereabout, and it was just passed, I think today, just 4 months after. And in an economy, a political economy that is in emergency, you need an accelerated action on the part of members of the National Assembly so that, according to the governors, we don't go into another recession. So in the 9th Assembly, we also want a rancorous-free election of their principal officers without resorting to what happened in 2015. We want them to imbibe the spirit of democracy, and I think that correcting the ills of the past will move us forward.
Okay, let me take on His Excellency before I come to Senator Barrow.
Yes. Well, I think the political atmosphere, to me, has shown some kind of lessons from what happened in 2015. Well, we were all involved. Some of us with large experience from the Assembly. I was elected twice as Speaker of the House of Assembly, and I went into that, and then we saw the unfortunate thing that happened in 2015 during the election of the leaders, of the leadership of the National Assembly. And all of us had fears about that kind of arrangement. And all were trying to even make some damage control. But we all came back to the end and we saw what was happening. But this time around, they say once bitten, twice shy. So we are all putting our heads together and to be sure that this election is going to be a very fantastic election. And we will not want a repeat of what happened before.
Okay. Why so much interest generated in this issue, unlike before?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, I think it's just a mere media hype, anticipating that there will be rancor during the leadership election. But as said by His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, there won't be that. Those who want to see rancorous exercise during the election of the leadership National Assembly will be disappointed, because the critical stakeholders have done doing their best to make sure that that does not happen. When I say critical stakeholders, we begin with the Nigerian people that gave the APC the mandate to form the leadership of the National Assembly by giving that party the majority in both chambers of the National Assembly. Now, having seen that, the APC decided that it will discharge this mandate in the best manner possible. It then began early in the day to create a template where the election of the leadership will be will be done in a peaceful manner, and it won't be associated with the rancor we saw in 2015.
Okay.
And that's why I decided to begin early in the day by selecting Ahmed Lawan and Femi. Ahmed Lawan to be the Senate President and Femi to be the Speaker. And we, the members of the National Assembly, the members-elect, have keyed into this template, and we will surprise everyone that wants to see a rancorous exercise, that we know what we are doing and we are ready to discharge the money given to us by the people of this country. It will be done peacefully, and every senator-elect of the APC, I'm sure, forget about the rancor you are seeing now, by the time we get to the day of inauguration, we'll come together and make sure we deliver these people, deliver Ahmed Lawan as the Senate President, and deliver Femi as the Speaker.
Okay.
Because we are ready to discharge the mandate given to us by Nigerian people,
okay,
in a way that will create a harmony, a harmonious relationship between the executive arm of government and legislative arm of government, so that we can create the needed synergy, the needed constitutional interface that will smoothen the process of governance in this country,
okay,
and deliver the good to the people.
Okay, when we come back from Kaduna, we'll sustain the next line of it. Professor Mato, will you be amazed if everything goes hook, line, and sinker the way the guests over here have said?
Well, thank you very much. I think what the guests are simply saying is towing the line of democracy. We make fundamental blunders in this country. We always assume that democracy is rancor. Democracy is not necessarily rancor. Democracy is guided by discipline. What has been lacking in this country for a very long time is that people have taken for granted the theory of separation of powers, the theory of party discipline, etc., and therefore every politician that got elected on the platform of political party to a particular political level, especially the legislators in this sense, find it convenient to begin to argue that he or she is also qualified to vie for any office, be it presiding officer or principal officer of any chamber of the National Assembly. But I think we are getting it wrong. The principles, democracy itself is built on the threshold of discipline. Democracy is built on the threshold of party supremacy. And what we have seen in the last two regimes, it simply reflected the very disorganized and rancorous manner that our democracy has run. It's not, anything objective for anybody to want to assume that simply because you practice a presidential system of government, so any member that is elected on a platform of any political party is in his or her own, and therefore can aspire to do anything, therefore relegating to the background the supremacy of the very vehicle which is the political party that has brought him or her into that position, as it were. And I think the APC has learned a very bitter lesson. The tragedy of 2015 must not be repeated in the sense that you have certain recalcitrant members from either of the chambers bringing themselves, aligning with members of the opposition party in order to win, positions of, presiding officers, either in the Senate or House of Representatives. In 2015, it was a tragedy because I cannot see how the APC will have majority in the Senate and only for its members to align with members of the opposition party to have a Senate president and vote for another member from an opposition party to be the deputy Senate president. It's a misnomer that can never happen. That should never happen. And if that happens, I think the members of the National Assembly will be earning the anger of millions of Nigerians that, have provided this mandate to these elected representatives of the people. So what I expect will happen after June 9th, 2019, when the National Assembly is elected, is that every person who is aspiring for any particular presiding officer position or principal officer position in either the Senate or the House of Representatives must be supported by the majority of political party. And in the event that anybody decides to do otherwise, then of course the supremacy of the party and then the will of the Nigerian people must really come to force so that it will be strictly a matter. We cannot succeed, for instance, as a democratic entity if indiscipline pervades. What happened in 2015 was indiscipline, and what do we see happening, from various quarters in the National Assembly, from the majority party, which is the All Progressive Congress, in my view, is an exhibition of the high degree of indiscipline that still percolates within our political system. And for us to make any progress, we must, as a people and as representatives of the people, consider the wishes and aspirations of the people. So I do not expect that anybody, for God's sake, within the rank and file of the APC that is elected either in the Senate or House of Representatives that is outside of the people that the leadership of the party has decided should represent them aspire to either be the Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, the Speaker, or the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. If the elected members will choose to do that, then I think they are surrendering the sovereignty that some of us, or the Nigerian people in our majority, have given them to do. So I think it's important now to make it abundantly clear to all those who want to be recalcitrant, who are aspiring outside the realm of the organized party politics, to begin to think otherwise if they really want to survive, and if really they want Nigerian democracy to thrive as such. So I am saying, I'm in cohort with what His Excellency and the Senator and my colleague there in Abuja studio are saying, that what needs to be done is that every member of the APC must attune himself or herself to the wishes and aspirations of the leadership of the party, which is a summation of the views of the general members of the OPC that have given them the majority in the National Assembly, the two chambers. And anything short of that, I think Nigerians will not take it lightly, will not take it kindly, especially when placed against the backdrop of where we are coming from, and the very unfortunate, despite the numerous bills that you have mentioned that were passed by the 8th National Assembly, the rancor that did take place between members of the same party, in my view, represents a very ugly scenario of what a democratic system should be like. I mean, it's very clear in the United States of America, where we are contracting this, presidential system of democracy. It is a straightforward argument that the moment a political party secures the majority in either of the chambers, then that political party presents its leadership to take. And I think in this case, that's basically the problem. In 2015, we made a blunder. The blunder we made was that we decided to shift the leader of the Senate and bring another aspirant, another candidate to aspire for the office of the Senate President. That backfired. In the House of Representatives, it was also the same thing. So it created an avenue where recalcitrant members of the party found a suitable avenue to align with members of the minority to get their way. But this time around, the leader of the Senate, the leader of the House of Representatives have been appointed by their political parties as people to preside over the two chambers of the National Assembly. Any member in the two chambers belonging to the majority party that will think otherwise, in my own humble opinion, will desire the wrath of not just the political party, but even the electorates that, first of all, voted him or her into that particular position. So I think it's not a debatable matter. It's a straightforward case. APC has made a position. Every member elected under the platform of the APC is obliged to take that position, and anything short of that is what I will refer to as political treason.
Okay, thank you, Professor Matu. I hear our guests from the Lagos Network Center, Ike Chidulue, Oil and Gas Expert, Member Contract and Mobilization, and Member Strategy Committee for Presidential Campaign Council, is also former Director, Anambra State Director of Media and Publicity of the Presidential Campaign Council. It's good to have you on Tuesday Live tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good evening, my fellow discussants. Sorry for coming in late. There was a miscommunication in the time.
We're looking at the 9th National Assembly ahead of the inaugural. What are your few thoughts, opening thoughts?
Well, everybody's in tune with what the preponderance of the opinions are. And the preponderance right now, from the feelers everywhere, people are sending a wrong signal like that the party is coalescing, or the party is playing the leadership of our great party is, playing a dictatorial role, mandating that it must be this way or no way. Our party is a democratic institute. The leadership are people that believes in rule of law and democracy. So what the leadership is doing is what a father will do. The leadership, the party is the one that sponsored the members into the positions. They found them eminently qualified and sponsored them to vie for this office and supported them through the process. So what they are doing is what a father will do. And as fathers and leaders, they are providing guidance, they are providing leadership, they are providing advice, and this process everybody has to understand, because there's a way we will put we'll tone our conversation. It will send a wrong signal, like though the party is trying to choke people into a decision. No, the party leadership are running along the lines of strategy, along three C's: consultation, consolidation, so that they can reach a consensus. So the process of consultation is being widened. When an idea, the party is an interested party. Our party is interested in knowing what the structure of the leadership of the 9th Assembly will be, and they want to know who is going to occupy what. So it's not like the party is writing down and tell a position and say, Mr. A must be here, Mr. B must, no. Let's put it in such a way that, so that the people that we are appealing to will understand that the party is not choking anybody and telling you must do this. The party is consulting with members of the Night Assembly, people that, and they are widening the consultation. So the consultation must be deep and wide. So that's what they're doing right now. Party is doing strong, intensive consultation, because as a father, you may decide that your son, advise him to go and study medicine. What if he goes to the university and change to engineering? The party understands that they are not going to be in the National Assembly on the day of that exam, of the vote. So what they are doing is providing that fatherly guidance, and at least we have a lot of time to provide that deep consultation, and that's what they are doing. And we believe, and moreover, when we say that the party has taken a position, we have to, go back and understand the process of the party taking a position. The highest organ outside the National Convention is the neck of the party, of our great party. So, and what I know that has happened is that the NWC has set up a committee to look into this issue and advise on how these things are to be zoned. All the positions are going to be shared. The committee will submit their report to the NWC. The NWC will take the report to NEC for ratification. So this process, it gives room for further and further consultation to be done. Nobody is being forced. Nobody is being coerced. The members know that they are not under tension. If any person is given that impression, let's kind of relax the conversation. The chairman of the party and the leaders of the party are not forcing them to do anything. They are working like fathers, and as fathers that sponsor their sons and daughters into position, they are providing leadership. The party is providing guidance. The party is providing advice. They are consulting, so that the end, when a decision is taken, is based on the consensus that the party has guided everybody to reach. That is what I know that is happening. We are trying to get at consensus. It's like in science, we call it the focus of the foci. So everybody, the focus is consensus. So we are trying to, or the leadership of the party is trying to galvanize everybody to have this common focus, so that all the foci will be focused on one point, and that's what's going on. It's consultation, consolidation, then we arrive at the consensus. And that decision, once it's taken, that's the final position. And because everybody is going to be carried along, we know that there's not going to be anybody saying that they don't agree with it. Because there's a lot of time party is consulting. If things that were said and sounded like it was said in anger or said trying to coerce anybody, party understands that. The party, this is a very strong democratic party and democratic institute. So they are consulting with people so that, the party's spirit is that no one should be left behind. So everybody knows anybody that needs to be talked to, anybody that must be talked to is being consulted. So that's what's going on. So by the end of the day, we hopefully will arrive at a harmonious conclusion for a consensus, for consensus candidates all through the ranks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chule. We'll come back to you. Now, back in Abuja, let me start with Your Excellency. A lot of issues have been raised across board from Abuja to Kaduna and back to Lagos and back in Abuja. Now, they take away, let me take it from here, threshold of discipline, threshold of party supremacy. Now, when you talk about separation of powers, and on this fateful day, in the red chamber, 109 senators, in the green chamber, 260 House of Reps members.
Yes.
Independence, interdependence, party supremacy, threshold of discipline. Break down this.
Well, thank you very much. I think the arguments must also be very, very clear. And before that, you must also understand the foundation. And the foundation is from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Constitution provides that there will be Speaker, there will be Deputy Speaker. And at the Senate, it says there will be Senate President and there will be a Deputy Senate President. It didn't say it must come from a political party. Now the rest of the arrangements are creation of the various arms of the government. So that means that in a Speaker, for instance, in the Senate, there must be a Senate president. And in most cases, it comes from the majority party. In 2015, it was assumed that there was no clear majority, not very wide margin. And so people could attempt to toy with that opportunity. And that was what we had at that time. Okay. And this time around, we struggled, just like Prof said. We struggled. Nigerians voted for a majority in the party. Why did they vote for majority? Because they want to take the benefit of the National Assembly. Mm-hmm. They want to take the benefit of the National Assembly. The same thing in the House of Representatives. Now, coming to the point of whether Mr. President is involved or is not involved. Let me take the Senate, for instance. I think we all know in Nigeria that the Senate is full of former governors. I want to ask, let them go back to the drawing board. Which of the former governors had a speaker without his intervention, without his own interest? Because many of them are former governors. I see today former governor coming to argue in the Senate to say that, no, this is imposition. What is imposition? I am a product of it. I was elected a speaker. I was elected a speaker once. I was elected a speaker the second time. And there's no state that had a speaker without due consultation. And the consultation usually ends at the table of the leader of the party, who is the governor. Who is the governor. Now, in this case, the president, it's not that the president is imposing. The president must be asked. He's the leader of the party. He's part of the party. It is not his decision. It's the decision of the party. Okay. Because you now move to consult the leader of the party. Sometimes the view of the leader of the party may not be the views of the party, but due consultation will be done, and at the end of the day, majority opinions will come and say, yes, this is the person. Now, when they came out and said, look, we're suggesting, it didn't say Mr. President suggested. It said the party suggested that this should be the line. And so when it was raised like that, I hear a lot of people that this is coercion, this is what, this is here and there. The man that is going to work with the National Assembly is the president. He's the president. It's a marriage. He's the president. And in most cases, if you make an attempt to get somebody that, of course, you think is going to start antagonizing or going to fight the executive, you end up in situations like we are finding ourselves as a member of the National Assembly. You may not get most of the things you want, but all we want is that, yes, there must be checks, proper checks, but with good relationship. Yeah. That's the basis of democracy. You must get it. And what stops a president even indicating his own interest? He's also a member of the party. He was elected. He is the president. He is the one that is going to bring the policies. He's the one that is expecting that he needs people who understand with him, and so that things will move forward. And that was the basis for the election. That was the basis. Otherwise, some people would have elected the president. When it comes to National Assembly, they go and sleep. But people elected the president with majority votes, went back to the National Assembly and struggled again to elect majority members, because party policies are different, party decisions are different, and party agenda is different. It will be unfortunate for you to elect National Assembly majority members and you go to the proceedings of House of Assembly and most of the proceedings are not that of the party. Okay. They send something to the National Assembly tomorrow in the name of a political party and it is gone, it is thrown out. Then what will be the basis of the majority in the National Assembly? You must be very, very conscious of that. It is not one person voting. It is assumed that the people voted. Let the majority of the opinion of the people prevail. And two, that you get to the National Assembly. Of course, that's usually the practice, that the majority party will take sensitive positions in committees. And here you get to a point, you work for a majority, you elected your members to go there, and all the key positions are going to opposition party because of negotiations.
Okay, I will land on the stable of Senator Barrow, but let me take on Chief Mike. Yes. When people sustain conversations about this, they always go to the angle of Mr. President. He has sometimes said, I will not interfere with the leadership of the National Assembly. I can work with anybody. That was
2015.
And yes, it's been sustained. Okay. And looking at it from the perspective of the fact that in a democracy and in the interest of public governance to drive home the manifesto of the party, what do you make of the moral correctness of this stand and the political naivety of the stand?
Well, For me, I think...
you know, there are two perspectives.
Yes. You see,
it is morally correct, but politically...
It is wrong.
It has some naivety in it.
Just as all the speakers have mentioned, I will answer your question, but I will start from the issue of party supremacy and discipline.
Okay.
You see, the doctrine of party supremacy is more pronounced in a single party system or a single party dominant system. In a multi-party democracy, it takes a different dimension, modified. Now, in discipline, showed its ugly head in 2015. Party supremacy is to promote discipline, party cohesion, party unity, party consensus. Unfortunately, some...
What about interest?
Yes, of course. Interest is also intertwined. You hardly will separate the two. Unfortunately, what happened between 2015 and now dragged Nigeria backward. There was high level of indiscipline within the ruling party, to the extent that the party would take a decision and some people will deviate from it and flagrantly flaunt it before you. You can imagine a governor choosing a candidate not endorsed by his own party and taking it to his own president to ask his own president to endorse that person. I want to take your mind back to the politics of 1979 to 1983. I wouldn't imagine Ebola Ige or Chief Onobanjo or Ambrose Ali taking a gubernatorial candidate of another party to Chief Obafemi Awolowo to say that, please, this is the person we are supporting. This president is too accommodating. And I'm emphasizing on the area of indiscipline. It will never happen. You will never see the former governor, what's his name? The late governor of Kano, taking a member of the opposition party to Alhaji Aminu Kano for endorsement. It will never happen. That is indiscipline. In 1979 to 1983, that was where party democracy was really emphasized. And it moved the country, it made democracy to be sweeter than what we are practicing now. They see the party as a vehicle that takes you to the bus stop, and when you get to the bus stop, you say goodbye to the party. But sections 65A and B, subsection 2, said clearly that you are a member of a party and you are so sponsored. And without a party platform, you are nobody in the National Assembly. Now, let me go back to your question.
Yeah, very, very important.
Now, when you look at those two statements, it is morally right for him to say that, well, I don't have interest. But it is just on the surface. The president must have interest on who becomes the leader of the National Assembly. Because he has to sell his manifesto. All the members of the party are sales agents of the president.
Theology.
You have gone to the grassroots to campaign on A, B, C, and D. Upon that strength, the president was elected. The senators, the distinguished senator sitting by me, was also elected, aligning himself with the same manifesto that the president sold. And now when the people have now elected you, then you are saying that the president should not be interested? He should be interested. He has a right to exhibit that interest. And once that interest is announced, you are expected to fall in. You cannot stand on your own. No single broom can sweep clean by itself, except it is a bunch.
Okay.
You need the president needs you.
Okay. Let's take this call from David. David is calling in from Jos. Our first call on Tuesday night, live tonight. Hello, David. Oh, we lost that call. Now, linking from Ajayi's case, coming to you, on the day of election, you're a senator, you'll be on the floor. On the Green Chamber, House Supreme will be there. None of the party elements will be there, except those who will be there to witness. Now, from what he has said, The fear by some persons is that, oh, if this goes this way, it therefore means the legislative arm of government becomes a lame dog to the executive. But the bigger picture, policies and plans of government has to be fulfilled. How do you look at this?
Well, before I go into that, let me emphasize or expand what I meant by the template created by the party.
Okay.
Now, the party saw what was being done, ab initio, from now, before now, that those things are being done wrongly, just as, expressed by Professor Kapiru Matu. Now, the party said, look, we can't continue this way. We must change how these things are done. And how do we do that? Let's look at how other countries in the world are doing.
Does that in any way stampede anybody?
Wait a minute. Then decided, they didn't just go about it in an arbitrary manner. They took note of how the leadership exercise is being conducted, based on international parliamentary best practice, and decided that this has to be done. We can't continue this way. For that reason, it has become so important. Well, sometimes change is a bitter pill to swallow. That's just why you have all these cries, But those who understand, like me, have keyed into this template. So, Professor Matu has clearly stated, what should be done, and that is what is going to be done. You cannot use a party as a platform, win election, and then throw it away. And when you look at other climes, experience is taken into account, and whenever such election has to be taken, it has to be done, there must be an internal arrangement by the party. And this is what the party has done.
Okay.
So, on the day of election, just as you asked, every right-thinking member of all progressive party who is in the National Assembly has to toe the party line. Because the party has done its best, it has gone using the international parliamentary best practice in choosing those who, the person that should be the Senate President and the person that should be the Speaker. Take Amelo, for instance, is going to be the most experienced senator in the United Senate. He's the current majority leader of the Senate. Now, what do you want? You don't have anybody who is as experienced as he is. Well, now you have David Mark. By May 29, he will be the number one. So what do you want? If you want productivity, if you want cognitive experience, if whatever you want in terms of legislative performance, this gentleman has it.
So it does not translate to the National Assembly making itself an appendage of the executive?
No, I'll come to that. Look, we are not talking, we are talking about a system. The president is part of APC, is a member of the APC.
Absolutely.
We are all members of the APC. And this view does not come, or did not come, from the presidency. It is the people, the view of the entire APC.
Okay.
We decided, I'm part of, because I have a representative in the National Working Committee and other, and the party leadership as a whole. It was decided that this is the way to go. So okay. It is not...
Just a second. David is back on the line. David is calling me from Just. Let's get his input. Hello, David. You're on to Tuesday Live. Hello?
Yeah.
You're on to Tuesday Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is David from Jos. Hello?
Go ahead. We're listening.
All right. I think what the topic of today is very interesting. Okay. Because what we are seeing in Nigeria, we are seeing a positive and a progressive nation with a positive and a strong leader that is about to lead this nation to the next level. I'm a member of the APC. When we emerged the winners in 2015, it was a big surprise for us to have the leadership in National Assembly, and we cannot have the Senate President and have the Deputy Senate, the Vice President, the Deputy Senate President. The governor seated there is my governor. When he came into power in 2015, because he was a leader in the House of Assembly, He knows the problem of Plateau, and what he did was to bring the people that matter most, the problem that's supposed to be bringing the state back forward. He brought the state. He said, look, let me find the most important thing in the state. What he did first was to bring the peace into the state. You can't have a good business in the state without peace in the state. So what Lalonde did on the Plateau, and that was what got him back into the second seat this time around. So what Buhari is trying to do, and what the National Assembly or the APC is trying to do now is that if we don't get the National Assembly leadership, there's no way so many things will happen in this country positively. So I believe what the APC is doing, we cannot make that mistake. As a member of APC, whatever we are, we will stand on our ground to make sure that all the senators, the ones that are coming from Plateau, will make sure they really vote to the party manifestation. And other ones, because we have the majority in the National Assembly, I know we will stand and have the Senate President, the APC, and the Deputy Senate President.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Well, we heard what David said there. So
about, being an appendage of the executive, that doesn't even come up. You see, you need a very good atmosphere. You need a conducive atmosphere for the legislature and the executive to operate so that we can have the needed situation to deliver the goods to the people. Now, and again, you see, we're talking about separation of powers. It's not as if you have a kind of brick and mortar separation, a kind of wall.
Interdependence.
Wall, you understand?
Yeah.
So you need, cooperation amongst the three arms of government, particularly between the executive and the legislature. The process of lawmaking is not only confined to the domain of the legislature. Whatever we do, it goes to the president for his assent. And he has his own experts there to look at what we do. So there must be this, situation of synergy, negotiation, consensus, all right, compromise, to be able to have what we need in terms of, having the best legislation, that we need to enact. So it's not as if you stay separate, I stay separate. That's not the case. So what we are trying to do is to have a less rancorous arrangement where we produce leaders, and these leaders will need to work with the president so that we'll be able to deliver on what we promise Nigerians, just like the way the speaker before me said.
Sure.
Because the Nigerian people have given us the mandate, given the APC the mandate to produce the president, and by producing the majority of members of the National Assembly from APC. So it therefore means that the Nigerian people want to give everything to APC, all right, so that nobody will not have a chance of complaining. I mean,
just before I go to Kaduna, to meet Professor Mato, just one word from, before then, let's take this call from Bashir. Bashir is calling from Kano. Hello, Bashir. You're on to Tuesday Live. Hello, Bashir.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're on to Tuesday Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Bashir Babata Gundi from Kano State. I just want to, yes, please, I just want to contribute. Yes, like what you people are just discussing. Anybody who doesn't want to be on this, what the APC said, because I just want to call the attention of this gentleman who said, if you are a member of APC and this is the decision of APC, you must follow. Like what happened in Kano during the regime. When Rimi wanted to fight PRP, he quickly resigned from the governor of Kano State and then check another party and then just go out, take another party and then contest as the governor to come back because he did not believe on what his party said. So Rimi resigned from his position. So any senator or House of Reps member who doesn't want to obey what the party said, so please let him resign from the Senate. Let him go back and elect in any party he wants. Then he will come back to Senate and do what he wants to do. But obviously that supremacy of the APC must stand. It must stand. That's my contribution.
Thank you, Bashir. Well, before I go to Kaduna, a quick one, Your Excellency. In all these, in the beauty of the democratic picture we normally see in the legislature, can APC do it all alone, despite the fact that they are in majority?
Now, let me give you a story. I was elected governor of Plateau State. And when I was elected, we had majority of members who were elected from the opposition, from the PDP. There were 13 out of 24, there were 13. And I had 11. I kept quiet. I didn't show any interest. But when the elections for the leadership came, it was even PDP themselves who came to me. They said, look, Mr. Governor, we know you are a former speaker. You have been here for too long. Even if we are elected, we may not last. We want to cooperate in bringing, in helping you to deliver the dividends of democracy. So I said, what do you want? I said, well, look, on our own, we want to concede the speaker to you. In that case, we will take the deputy speaker. So immediately they went into the election, and APC emerged the Speaker of the House of Assembly, and they got in deputy. But of course, it didn't take long. Many of them now switch back to APC. And out of 13 members before now, up to this moment, we have only 6 members remaining in PDP. So I'm talking about consensus and also talking about the direction of the leader. Now, this thing happened before. All Nigerians were aware that it happened to do. Even if the president did not share interest, that does not mean that the party had no interest. And every interest that this party is collecting is also supposed to be the interest of Mr. President. We are all working for Mr. President. Now, in this case, we said, look, governors, I was one of them. I said, look, Mr. President, you must tell us where your direction is. Your direction is the direction of the party. Let us know. Because we don't want situations where we go there and we have what I may term hybrid. Kind of arrangement where today you bring decisions of APC, it is thrown away. Or you bring decisions of PDP, turn it upside down, and what will prevail is the decision of PDP. That was not what we voted for. And if that is the case, tell us. Show us and tell us, this is your direction. And all of us will work towards that direction. So that if it fails, we know that we have failed. And the first thing you do in that case, when I see a lot of people arguing, I say, you are not going to be National Assembly members. You will argue because you are occupying the public space. Yes, that is democratic. But when it comes to real election, everybody has members. Everybody controls his members in the National Assembly. We all voted for our members, and all of us are going to pull in our members to come and give them direction. And even before that, when people argued and said, no, President, we said, no, it's not Mr. President. It's the decision of our party. Now, to do that and to confirm that, we went back to our states. And we said, okay, these members are coming from the state. So let us first gauge the cooperation of members from the state. And you can see where the members are coming. Of course, you will find some who will not agree. In a society like ours, it's obvious that there may be some that will not dissenting voices.
Let's go to Kaduna.
So what
Lagos,
I'm saying, before you get to Kaduna, so don't look at minority views. Sometimes they say minority views may be louder than even the majority voice. But we know what we're doing. We've already declared. Plateau has declared. In the North Central, the entire North Central zone has declared. Many of the zones have declared. We are now trying to see the dissenting voices. But at that time, that is where discipline will come in. And when people say, you are not going to discipline, what is the purpose of party? Party has a constitution. Party has a reason for discipline. Party will always have a way of correcting members when they go astray. Otherwise, then there will be no need for party. There will be no need for party.
So let's proceed to Kaduna. Before we go to Kaduna, we have this call from Baba Abu. He's calling in from Katsina. Hello, Baba Abu. Hello, Baba Abu. You're on to Tuesday Live.
Thank you very much. Good evening, all.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to commend you for this very wonderful issue that you brought to the viewers or the entire Nigerians. And as a very important issue, I think it's good for APC to speak on behalf of Nigerians, especially the members of the APC. I'm a bona fide member of APC from top to down, and I voted APC. But I think the approach APC used in handling this issue of 9th Assembly is what matters now. The approach. APC has the right to choose who leads the National Assembly because we are having the majority of both chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. But my own concern is the approach APC used in handling this issue is not in a good shape, which I think there are so many ways to follow so that the issue will be resolved amicably in order not to repeat what happened in the 2015 when the National Assembly is voting their leaders. So I think the APC need to be strategized in order not to repeat the mistake that happens, because all of us are a living witness of what happened in 2015. So the APC need to go back and look the approach it used. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Baba Abu. Well, we are about going to Kaduna, but it is time to take a short break. When we return, we'll go to Kaduna and Lagos.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Make you report any crooked person, object or wakajube movement to police and security agent demo.
The security of our nation now work for all of us, plus including me and you.
Nigeria, make we unite against terrorism. The Federal Ministry of Information and Culture bring on this message.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for tuned. And the focus once again is ahead of the 9th National Assembly, looking closely at the concerns by Nigerians generally ahead of the election of the principal officers to the National Assembly. Before we went on break, we sustained the discussion on heading somewhere. We're going to Kaduna. Before then, we had 3 calls from Jos, Kano, and Katsina. Now, going to Kaduna, Professor Kabir Mato, given the last call by Baba Abu, he was concerned about the approach by the party. We have talked that, but in all this, one of the concerns has been that this whole thing is a violation of a section of the Constitution, which is Chapter 5, Section 50A and B, which provides for the mode of electing presiding officers of the National Assembly. And they are holding this strictly, saying that they are trying to bring in subterranean forces to influence the election of the National Assembly. Do you agree with this?
I don't agree with that. His Excellency Samuel Along has said very clearly that the Constitution is very, very straightforward about this issue. It has not said that it must be a member of this party or that party that should be the presiding officer of any of the chambers of the National Assembly. It's the members of the Senate and the members of the House of Representatives that would elect who will be the presiding officers. That is given. We operate within a constitutional system where the political parties are supreme in the sense that attempts have been made several times to institute the idea of independent candidature within our political scenery. That has not succeeded yet. So what has remained very invisible is that force of the political party. And like I did say in the beginning of this discussion, that one major character of a political party is that it has to maintain discipline among its rank and file. And precisely that's what's lacking in the Nigerian scenario. Let me tell you this. All this hue and cry that you hear, permeating all over the politics, a deliberate ploy from the opposition PDP wanting to unnecessarily overheat the polity in order to score cheap political positions. It did happen before the election. If you are, a keen follower of the Twitter or the Facebook, you will believe that APC will not make any headway. But fortunately or unfortunately, in 2019, APC made more gains as far as the National Assembly is concerned than it did in 2015. So what you are hearing today is that subterranean move that is coming from the opposition wanting to continue to instill that confusion that did happen, which is not likely going to happen. And that's why some of us that are outside are insisting that the party must wield its stick to ensure that any of its members, let me give you an example. Muhammad Ali Ndume, for instance, is a very distinguished member of the National Assembly. I knew him right from his days in the House of Representatives. When the contest started, we spoke, and I told him I was going to be with him. But by the time that the APC took its position, I decided also to fall in line with the decision of the party, because the polity cannot succeed in an atmosphere of disarray and indiscipline. And therefore, I will expect my friend to therefore shield the sword and bury his ambition and toe along the line of the party. Well, distinguished Senator Juma Goje also in the Senate, who people are saying, which I don't believe really will be, any contention. Maybe because, like Governor Lalong said, there are a lot of governors in the Senate. But the fact of the matter is that he is too distinguished, he is too honorable to continue to argue against the direction of his party, to swim against the tide. He should know the implications of that much more than any one of us. So all I'm saying is this. The Constitution has made, in the Constitution you are not going to find everything specified in details. It is a grand norm that specifies certain things, but then the details are explained, in other avenues. So what I think must be done is this. In a scenario where a political party has a majority, let me take you briefly to the history of these recalcitrants in the National Assembly. It started in 2011, when President Jonathan and the PDP thought that it was necessary that somebody from the southwestern part of this country should become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And majority of members, prominent among them, of course, were the members of the ACN, mainly from the southwestern part of this country, that thought it was otherwise, and therefore decided to wage a war against the political party alliance with APC and brought Aminu Tambol to become the speaker. Now, so many issues are concerned. Nigeria is a federation where you have conglomerates. We are now divided into 6 geopolitical zones, and some of the zones. I mean, the politicality, the political visibility of some zones are much more. If you take the northwest and the southwest, for instance, you are covering about 3 or 4, other zones in this country. Now, these are some of the factors that we need to consider. And as far as this arrangement is concerned, if you have a Senate president who was the leader, or who is the leader of the party or the majority party in the Senate, and the party is saying we will propel him to become the Senate president, and you have the leader in the House of Representatives who also the party is propelling to be the Senate, I do not see any reason why anybody within the rank and the file of the APC, especially those who are elected, should. I mean, it's a matter of intermix. I mean, a mixture of various political intrigues. Some people in the House of Representatives will not be comfortable if Femi Bajabiamila is there, so they will want to push Bago and will continue to push him until he becomes. I know Bago too is a gentleman, but he should subject himself to the supremacy of his political party and the will of the people of Niger State that have, first of all his constituency, that have brought him to the National Assembly. If anybody else wants to push him, you see, in the National Assembly today, you have a crisis at hand. You have a crisis where the Senate President has fought a very spirited political battle and has lost out completely. And so it's not going to be there. In his own case, as far as my own interpretation is concerned, he's better off. In the House of Representatives, you have a speaker who has also fought tooth and nail. Yes, he has won his seat back to the House of Representatives, but he's going to be a commoner, like any other member. If the speaker that will be elected will can make him chairman of any any committee if so decides. But I don't think if Dogara will want to desire. But I do know very sincerely that it will be the last thing that both Bukola Saraki and Yakubu Dogara will accept to have an Ahmed Lawan and Femi Bajabiamila presiding over these 2 chambers. But that's what the APC is saying. And if they had any strength, Bukola should have won his seat back in the Senate and majority for the PDP to be able to actualize his will, or Dogara should have, yes, he has won, but then he should have made the PDP win the majority of seats in the House of Representatives. So this debate, in my view, is very unnecessary. Party discipline must be maintained, it must be sustained. The position of the APC must be upheld. That's the view of some of us that are outsiders, that are voters, that are members of the party. And we are saying that we strictly obliged to it. It's not a matter of consensus. Anybody talking about consensus and so on and so forth, in my view, is just being unnecessarily legalistic or, apolitical about the whole issue. Everywhere in presidential system of democracy across the globe, this is what is obtained. Nigeria cannot be an exception. If we have it an exception, then of course we are only displaying to the global community our stark ignorance, our stark incapacity to practice this Western liberal contraption under the under the presidential American system that we are practicing here. So the Constitution has specified it, but the Constitution, like I did say, is not a document that contains every bit of law that we have in this country. So the Constitution said, National Assembly, Senate shall elect its presiding officers, House of Representatives shall elect its presiding officers. Who does the election? The majority members of the party. What members of the APC like me will not accept is for any member elected under the banner of the party to go on the day that the party or the National Assembly will be inaugurated, when the president issues the proclamation, for him or her to stand and say he or she is going against the vice of the party. I mean, people mix a lot of things. You say parliamentary democracy, yes, party fusion, and so on and so forth. Under presidential democracy, you have more liberal. Yes, you have the right to oppose the position of a party in parliament, in the Senate or in the House. But you do not have the right to go against the will of your party when sensitive decision, such as the election of the presiding officers of any of the chambers, is taking place. If you do that, it's a gross misconduct, and I think that has to be penalized accordingly. And I think one of the things that really is afflicting on us as a nation and as a democracy is the failure of the institutions to ensure that they enforce on these rules and regulations that govern the various institutions. So the Senate and the House of Representatives, those who are elected, there is no threat. It's a matter of, I'm a student of political science. I'm not a lawyer, but a lot of these things we are talking about is politics. So the fact is that members elected under the banner of the APC should abide by the rules of the APC. You may have your views, you may have your dissent, but your political maturity will be measured in terms of your capacity and ability to adhere to simple rules and regulations. That's the difference between people who are civilized and those who are not. Those who are civilized will respect law and order, will respect, all this sort of organizational behavior and so on and so forth. Those who are not will always try to go against it. It's not about personal interest. It's not about satisfying the wishes and caprices of certain groups, etc., etc. In the House of Representatives, I know many people that will not be comfortable having a Febi Bajabi. He was there in 2015. He was defeated. He took it calmly. He went back. He became, the House leader. And now it's time for him to become anybody within the rank and file of APC that will be pushed by members of the opposition to challenge that position, in my view, will desire the wrath of the party and some of us who are members of the party. So the thing to go here is that the way to go here is that we will best build our democracy, will enhance our prosperity, and ensure that we have a lasting legacy and a system that will bequeath to our children that has tremendous respect for order and organization. That is precisely what I'm talking about. And that's what I'm saying. Every member that is elected on the banner of APC should respect. Otherwise, I will see him as an outcast, and I will personally treat him as such in my own political thinking and whatever I will do in the future. So I think it's important. This matter should not be, like I said in the beginning, this is basically an overheating of the polity that is being generated by the opposition People's Democratic Party, because they will desire to have either a deputy Senate president again or a deputy speaker. It was shameful that APC had majority in the Senate. It had a Senate president, and it didn't have a vice president or a deputy Senate of the Senate. And so many things went wrong. And just like, His Excellency Lalong said, we had so many scenarios. It's not about passing budget. This is the only country on the surface of earth that claims to be practicing democracy, that a budget, which is the most important bill before the legislature. You see, everything about democracy is economics. In political science, we say the essence of politics is economics. The most important...
We'll get to you on other issues, please. Let's go to Lagos now. We are not done with you yet. Just give us some time. Now, back to you, Chikula. I remember in your opening thoughts, you sustained the position that people are worried that the party is choking people. It's choking. Now, in the beauty of democracy, will you be amazed if the party does more? Maybe on this day, everything works out seamlessly?
Yeah, thank you. Before I answer that, I really want to pick on some of the things that Prof said. We're practicing democracy that we copied from the U.S. We should know that from last year when, in the U.S., when the Dems won the Congress, Rep. Joe Crowley, who's the caucus chair, wanted to be the speaker. And the whole issue was that Joe Crowley, being the caucus chair, and every other member of the Dem party thought that Nancy Pelosi wasn't going to get enough support. But everybody, the party and the members, managed the consultation process. When we are talking about consultation, it's good as party leaders that are talking. I thank God. I like the way Your Excellency Governor said. When he won in 2015, it was, underground consultation. The PDP people, even though they constituted the leaders, they came to him. It's consultation. The party has a position, but we should remember it's not a final position. Why they are not calling it final is to allow for consultation so that members of the 9th Assembly will know that they were carried along. We shouldn't make it feel like this, we are talking to small boys and girls. The party sponsored them as their father. And the party saw all of them eminently qualified to be there. And the reason why the party is pulled back and try to bring everybody in is so that by the time the final decision is taken, all of them will be seen to have been carried along. Once a consensus is arrived at, they will endorse the consensus. The party will reach a consensus and everybody will be there. But one thing that we should try not to do is to make it feel like you're hitting somebody over the head. These are our congressmen and women. These are our senators. And all of them have bought into that next. Everybody has to be taken to the next level. And it's only on the next level matter that will say whether you like it or not, you must go to the next level. Everybody has to work with the president. That is the most important thing. When we talk about harmony, the harmonious thing is that the leadership, when we get to consensus, has to be such that we lead all the members in harmony with the president's manifesto. The president has campaigned on certain salient issues to the electorate, and these are the things that the president wants to do. And nobody's scared, none of them. You know, it's wrong to start printing Femi Gbajamiya in a wrong light. They are not scared of him. He is their leader in the house. He's currently the leader in the house. So
if you can hear me, that's why I ask you this question. If you can hear me, he's not hearing me. If you can hear me, hello, if you can hear me, I want to. Wow. Can you hear me now? The point I'm making, are you getting me? Are you getting me? The point I'm making across to you is this. Can you hear me? Okay, beautiful. Now, I asked you, given your position, if the consultation is sustained the way you're saying, will there be a surprise on the day of the election?
That's why it's consultation. Nobody is going to be surprised. Everybody is being reached. People are being talked to morning, afternoon, night. And you know, let's look at it logically. What we see that the party is doing is that because after 2023, there won't be President Buhari that has a catchment of 10 million votes. So that the party is setting an order so that people, the members will see that, you know, there is a proper transitioning process. That is why the need for consultation. So that members will see that people that were their leaders appointed into leadership position in the Senate automatically translate or transmit to become the Senate president. People that are, you know, the person or persons that are, you know, leaders in the House, like Femi, translates to be the speaker. Nobody is forcing any of the members that Femi must be their speaker. Neither is any person forcing anybody that Senator Lawal will be the Senate president. They are just showing them the logical importance through consultation that we have this beautiful, seamless transition so that 2023, we will have another transition for the party. Because we don't want, by the time the president exists in 2023, we need to have that catchment, that who's going to get that 10 million votes when he's gone. So that is why we're saying consultation. Nobody will say that if anybody doesn't do this, that he's an outcast. Nobody is an outcast. If you tell your son to study medicine and he goes and read engineering, are you going to disown him? So we shouldn't use certain statements that will inflame the members. So what we're trying to do is that they are going to see reason. The logic is on the table. They are being consulted to see why everybody has to follow this logical sequence. So that by 20, the reason for the law, so that there will be smooth transition. By 20, just like in America, Joe Crowley will have been the speaker. But everybody saw a reason. They made everybody to buy into it. Originally, Nancy Pelosi didn't have the votes. Then people began to talk to other members. Members talk to themselves. So the need for the consultation is that not just that the party is talking, but the party is telling other members, like our distinguished senator. They are talking to other members. It's consultation. They are widening the consultation, taking interest on the table. So what we know is that by the 10th or 11th, there's going to be before 10th or 11th, there'll be a consensus and it will just fly like that. So we don't want them to think that anybody is pushing them back or, trying to push down you know...
Lagos. We'll come back to Lagos. We'll come back to Lagos. Thank you. Okay. Now, back here, let's take this call from Senior. Senior here is calling in from Benue State. Hello, Senior. Hello, Senior. You're on to Tuesday Live.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
I want to agree with that caller from... Yes. Are you not hearing me?
We are hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay. I agree with the other caller from Katsina State. And the other caller from Katsina State, I agree with you. It's obvious. Everybody knows that APC is the majority in the both APC. They are going to produce the leadership of the National Assembly, but the way and manner of approach it's not good, because I had National Chairman, me, Adam, one day he was saying that they don't have to do any business with the devil. That is not the way of approaching people. Those people are calling them devil. They are going to participate fully in the process. So as that man from the studio is saying, it's consultation. You're supposed to involve them in that consultation, convince them. Because because everybody in that chamber is qualified, not one of those two, but this is where party is going, and we agree. Your consultation should involve both positions, because our brothers and sisters that are there, they are all there for common goal. That is good governor, and this is what Nigerians need. So, one of approach.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Senior. Well, back here, actually, we have gotten a direction now. Yeah. Let me take off from Senator Barrow. Now, this whole thing, when you're in the red chamber, talking about 109 senators, we collapse and we are controlled and regulated by the standing orders of the House. And when we are within the green chamber, 360 House of Reps members, we are controlled and regulated by the standing rules. And it is for the overall interest of Nigerians. And whatever we are discussing is all about Nigeria. Willy-nilly, if a Senate President emerges, Deputy Senate President and other principal officers of the both chambers emerge, eventually they are working for Nigeria. Why should Nigerians not get worried so much about all this?
Well, I said
it's all about Nigeria.
Well, let me just say, okay. Well, I was in the National Assembly in 1999. We started the Fourth Republic. You know, I was in the legislature then. And I want to tell you authoritatively that this hype, this media hype, is all concocted, orchestrated by the opposition party. Mm-hmm. I want to tell you this, but the party APC has done what it's supposed to do. There's an ongoing consultation. We're consulted, we're called, we sat, and everything was explained to us. And the template I talked about the other time was well explained, that we need to toe the line of international parliamentary best practice in what we do, that we should move away from how things have been done before during the PDP administration, that we can't stand alone, we can't be an island, we can't just stand alone and do things differently among the committee, the other nations on earth. And that's why our party came up with this. So I want to say, there isn't any problem. We are the consultation is going on and it's still going on. We are even gone beyond the membership of the APC in the next National Assembly. It has gone beyond even the National Assembly. Yes. It is going on within the whole country. All stakeholders have been touched, have been consulted, have been talked to. So it's beyond what my friend in Lagos is talking about. So I want to say, for every right-thinking member of the APC who has been elected, who was elected in the just concluded election into the National Assembly, every one of us will toe the party line because it's in the best interest of the country. What the party wants to do is to have a kind of unanimity so that we'll be able to deliver the good based on the manifesto we presented to Nigerian people, and we are given the mandate both at the executive branch of the government and the legislature. And for us to discharge the mandate, we need to do what we are doing now. And this is what the party is doing. Okay. And we are going to get it right.
Yes.
And we are getting it right. And there will not be a problem on that on election day. It's going to be open election in line with what is done all over the world. They are the one propagating, talking about secret election. It's not done anywhere in any parliament in the world. You need to vote so that your people will know where you stand. In fact, before you vote, you go to your people. You must consult your people to tell them. They will tell you what to do. And then you come into the parliament and vote that very day in line with the wishes of the people. Okay. And besides, if you are going for the next election, your record, the record of the votes you've, you did, your votes on the floor of the Senate will be the determinant. They will help in determining whether you'll be voted again or not. So nowhere on earth, a legislator will vote secretly in the parliament.
It looks as though His Excellency has an input on this.
So it's just, it's been all this hype, all this noise, all this is been orchestrated by the opposition. But I want to tell you, things will go normally, and the party is determined that we need to toe the line of international parliament best practice. And that's what we are going to do.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to add to the sentiments expressed by some people, and especially the caller from Lagos and the caller from Benue. Well, now, when people ask what the party is doing, whether they are right or wrong, you talk about consultations, and the party constitution provides for that. But there are stages of consultations. There are stages of consultation. It doesn't say that for minor issues or some major decisions, the party must go and call a general meeting of everybody to take a decision. Consultations, important consultations like this starts from above. And when I say above, for any member who is aspiring to be Speaker of the House of Representatives, must first of all consult his governor. Must consult his governor. Now it is for the governor to go and take up the matter. For instance, if it was even something that people are going to be annoyed about, it's those of us in the North Central Zone. Before now, we had the Senate in the North Central Zone. Now, in this dispensation, all of us were moving for Speaker House of Representatives if we were going to lose the Senate. Now, what happened was that all those people who came out to contest came back to the governors first to do consultations. And now, when they consulted the governors, it was now for the governors to go above to do consultations from the party. Now, governors did consultations from the party and came with a different view. When we had the consultation, one of the key contestants was from my state, Wase. So we went back to the state. First of all, I called a zonal meeting. We called a zonal meeting, and we said, look, these are decisions of the party. These are the logic brought by the party. We agreed with it, and we all made with the party, and we took a decision. After that, we said, okay, we should all go back to the state and take back our decision back to the state. And all of us went back to all the states. So we went back to the states, called all the National Assembly members. We said, these are the views expressed. How do you look at it? And all of them also agreed. And back in the state again, we took a decision on behalf of the state. And we said, this is exactly what we agreed. We are going to toe the line of the party. Members were there, all the members agreed. Now, what we are saying is that does not mean that some people will think that in decisions like this, you will not have dissenting opinions. Even within the APC, you sometimes have dissenting opinions. But all we are saying is that we will manage it. It is better to express it and then you manage it. Even when the issue of the Senate President was first muted, and it was at the dinner, and governors were there, because we all knew what was going to happen, and it was announced. After that, the governors from the Northwest, or the Northeast, had several meetings with those who were contesting. Okay. So they have not come out to say, we've exhausted our consultation. For some people, I think you should leave it that way, because we don't want situations that happened before. I said once beaten, twice shy. We would not allow it, because at that time, everybody was on his own. And at the end of the day, some people took advantage of it, and we had the situation we found ourselves in. So this time around, we're not going to allow that kind of situation Members who are elected, yes. They are not elected to go and take decisions without consultations. They must consult. They must come back to do consultation. So as far as I'm concerned, almost all the zones are taking decisions. And they took that decisions in consultation with National Assembly members. Even the member from Niger who came out and said, look, it's not binding on me. That does not mean that there was no decision taken in Niger. There was a decision taken in Niger. All the other members agreed, except him. In my own case, we had a decision. We took that decision. Once I agreed, once I has since dissolved his structure, and he is an abiding member of the party. And so we are also now moving for another thing. That does not mean if you lose one, you just sit down. We will all continue to do the consultation. We will all continue to do the lobbying until we reach that stage of voting.
Well, let me add to what he said. Okay. Yes. We also did the same thing that the governor did in Plateau with his people in Kano.
Yes.
All the members were called to a meeting together with the party leadership, with the governor, and we all agreed to toe the party line. Yes. We issued a statement. The senators also issued a statement. And I even heard today, Bochi has done the same thing today before I came into this into NTA. So it's ongoing.
To the Constitution.
It's ongoing. Yeah, sure. It's ongoing.
Well, it has always been said that democracy is not a destination. Yeah. It's an evolving process.
Yes.
It keeps opening up. Yeah. Yes. You want to ascribe it to like marriage. You keep opening the parcel, you see a new face. Yes. So this is one of the new faces. Now, to Ajayi, let's look at it. Somewhere I mentioned the fact that as much as we have separation of powers, talking about independence, this particular independence is interdependent, meaning that, like they would say, the brain box in a democracy is the legislature. Yeah. The engine room is the executive. Yeah. The worry has been, if maybe the explanations have not been given the way we have heard from Kaduna, Lagos, and Abuja from all of you who are resource persons, I believe people have learned now. It's not what they are thinking. Oh, if the party takes a decision for their legislative, the members of the legislature parliament, yeah, then they are pocketed the legislature. No. So, in the principle of brain box engine room in the governance process, what do you make of this?
Well, you see, the point is that nobody is denying the fact that a legislator does not have a right to contest for the highest position in the land. It is given by the Constitution. It's a right. But party democracy assumes that you have submitted your right to the party. That is what it means. And in other words, it implies that once a party takes a decision, it's taking it on your behalf because already you have given your right as a party member to the party. Now, look at the process again. That is what they call internal democracy of a party. There's a party convention. Every member goes there to vote for the leadership of the party, those that are going to manage the party's bureaucracy. So once you do that, they can take decision on your behalf, just as His Excellency has just said. So the issue of engine room or brain box, I don't see how it works. In politics, it doesn't operate that way. Once you have submitted your right to the party has a right to manage. Everybody cannot sit down to take a decision. They have to, and if you look at the party constitution, you have the NWC, you have the NEC, which is the highest organ of the party. Members of National Assembly are also members of these organs. Okay. And they also participate in choosing who is their leader. They are also consulted. So, you see, there's a convergence, although they run in the parallel line somehow, so to speak, but there's a convergence. They are part of the decision that elected the party chairman and the party members. So, if they have a right to be involved in who becomes their party leader, are you saying now the party bureaucracy should not be interested in who their members are? And in the arrangement in the House, you have the chief whip, you have the deputy chief whip. And what is the implication of these positions? To ensure that everybody is guided by the party. Otherwise, we want to ask you, who are you whipping? Who exists to be whipped? Meaning that you must work in tandem with the decision of the party. And the beauty of party democracy is even well expressed more in British parliamentary democracy. That is where you see the beauty of party supremacy. A party takes a decision, everybody has to toe it. Look at what APC has suffered. The Prof was talking of party indiscipline. His Excellency mentioned the same thing. Party indiscipline led to the loss, the monumental loss they had in Rivers State. Monumental loss, Zamfara. Monumental loss in another state,
Imo.
Bauchi. And that is because you refuse to toe the line of party discipline. And what we are now seeing is an attempt to correct that. Yes. And I made mention that party supremacy was well expressed between 1979 and 83. That was the beauty of democracy of the highest order.
Let me add, please. Okay. He talked about parliamentary democracy. Okay. Partyism is not only confined to parliamentary democracy. The gentleman from Lagos talked about how Pelosi emerged as a Speaker of the United States. He never said that, well, they were decent. But at the end of the day, they came together, agreed at the party caucus, and she became the Speaker. Okay. In fact, I have not forgotten. Trump wanted to intervene by saying, oh, Pelosi, don't worry, I will direct my Republican congressman to vote for. He said, no, I don't want your vote. I don't want your vote.
Exactly.
He said, no.
Exactly.
And I want to tell you, in every election of the Speaker of the United States, the decision is taken at the party caucus. And once the party caucus agrees, that's all. It's a done deal.
Okay. Maybe that's why some persons are saying maybe the approach by the party, because it looks so noisy.
There's nothing. Okay. Adam Oshewele is doing very well. He did very well, and we are with him. He has not done anything wrong. I told you, this is what is happening. Is it's being orchestrated by the opposition, trying to create problem, disharmony, so that it can now get crash into the leadership of the National
Lagos
Assembly.
and Kaduna, because, quickly, Your Excellency, today you will say that you are an embodiment of experience. Maybe as you're doing your second term, you're also thinking of going to enter the Senate, because the Senate is
the resting place,
a collegiate of former governors. Now, with the experience you have, would you say that after now, like I asked the guy in Lagos, there could be, maybe if you sustain the consultation, maybe you come up with a different style. Maybe on this day it will be walkover.
I can't, because I'm deeply involved in this. It's not all strategies that I will give now. Because as we move on, like the man said, if I start giving all the strategies, it means we form the opinion without exhausting the consultations we're talking about. And we said it. I said, look, the consultation started from the governors. Because when these people wanted to contest, they liaised with their governors. Each of them came and said, look, Governor, please support me. This is my interest. Now it is now the responsibility of the governor to go further, to go and lobby his colleagues in all the states. Now in the process of the lobbying, there will be meeting, there will be consensus. They will now look at it and look at the direction. It was that conclusion in the direction that made the party to make the announcement. Okay. So when they say the party was not doing the right thing, you ask, that is the party chairman. Who did you expect to make the announcement? You mean the president? The president is also a component of the party. He's a member of the party. Now, the party is the one to make the decision, so that when you go against the decision of the party, it is the party that will take the road. And when you are disciplined that member, you will not start from Abuja. You will go back to the grassroots. Discipline starts from, of course, from the ward.
Yes.
And that was why but the consultations will always begin at the top. By the time it gets to the top, we now know who and who is a product of the party, who will abide by the decision of the party, and so that when the hammer is going to be on you, we are not threatening people because they have a right to vote. You have a right to vote. The also party has a right to guide how you are going to vote in the interest of the party. All these things are constitutional.
Okay. We'll come back to Abuja for some conclusion. Let's go to Kaduna, from Kaduna to Lagos, and we come here and coast home. Now, back to Kaduna. Prof, now, as a political scientist, the Nigerian democratic culture is evolving, and it has gotten to somewhere. Will you say, comparatively then and now, so far, what we are seeing is a demonstration of a political culture being developed?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, let me attempt to answer one thing that my APC consensus theologian from Lagos was, trying to assert. The late Professor Pius Adesami had this very famous saying when my governor Nasiru El-Rufai decided to sack 21,000 unqualified teachers. And Sokoto State, immediately responded by saying, we will not sack unqualified teachers, we will train them. And Pius did ask, can you teach fish how to fly? Can you make fish fly? Fish does not fly. And that's precisely what I'm saying. Who are you talking about? Who? The governors are there, the senators are there, they are talking about consensus. Consensus with who? Consultation with who? With members of the PDP? What are you talking about? For God's sake, what are you talking about? And Senator Barrow has mentioned the issue of Nancy Pelosi and the challenger in the Democratic Party. Did it work? That's not an example to mention in a national television like this. We are talking about, you see, the tragedy of the Nigerian situation is that we speak, no matter what we profess we believe in, from the very environmental positions or characteristics we are made of. Otherwise, what are you talking about? Every member of Senator Barrow is there. Most members of the National Assembly that are elected from the 3 zones in northern Nigeria are elected because of the credibility of the president. A lot of them didn't go to campaign. They did, I know. But they were elected on the credibility of the president. And the president is saying, let's go this way, and you're saying, consult with who? That is it. Secondly, the issue of evolving democratic culture in Nigeria. We are growing at a rate that is unprecedented. It is so fast. It is so encouraging. If you realize that we have just come 20 years from where we are and the way the institutions are developing, we've seen scenarios where, Governor Lalong, congratulations for that feat. You won the rerun with a very wide margin. I mean, even in the first instance when the election was declared inconclusive, every Nigerian knew that you had won that election. So so take Bauchi, for instance. Take several other places. In Bauchi, 20 members of the State House of Assembly are of the APC extraction. They chose to push away their governor for whatever reason. That's a demonstration of political maturity. We didn't have this in the PDP days. In the PDP days, the moment you win a ticket under the platform of the PDP, unless in very, very few constituencies, you are already in the office that you were aspiring or you contended to represent. So it is clear that we are making progress, and I think what we need to do is, I have read in the news and I have watched several times, several people in Kiruka and the rest of them are saying they want to be speaker. How many members, for instance, of the APC are from the southeast? I mean, that's a mockery of democracy. Yes, it's about federalism, it's about so many things, but how can you make it? You understand? My friend Ojo Zukalu wants to be Senate President. I will want him to be, but I know he cannot be. He knows he cannot be. He will not come out and insist he wants to be Senate President. He could be a principal officer in the Senate. There's nothing wrong with that for the representation that people are talking about. So the issue of consensus, the issue of consultation, is an issue that lies with the majority. You see, in democracy, the theory is that the majority will always have its way. The majority will continue to have its say. So I give it to you on the ground that you have your say and you can continue to aspire and say whatever you want to say. But the bottom line is that the APC has agreed, is agreed, and I don't expect PDP to agree. If they do, it's for their own good. In the American system you are talking about, the winner takes all. All the chairmen of the committee, if I will be asked, I will say don't give PDP anything in the House and in the Senate. APC should take everything. Let them work hard. Let them win the confidence of Nigerians again under free, fair, and credible elections, win majority in the National Assembly, and take everything. We were there before. We are in a different space, and that's the next level. So it's not about consultation. This idea of hiding under pseudo grammar and so many things to continue to propel some pseudo ideologies, in my view, will not be useful to the democratic enterprise that we are practicing in this country. So progressive.
Thank you, Professor Kabir Mato, Commissioner for Local Government Affairs, Kaduna State political scientist. We joined you from the Kaduna Network Center. It was nice having you on Tuesday Live, and we may not likely come back to you. Thanks for sharing your time with us on Tuesday Live.
Thank you very much.
To Lagos now, let me get back to Ike Chidiolue. Hello, back to you. Well, back here in Abuja, We agree with you, we didn't agree. Let's get your closing thought regarding where the Nigerian democracy is going, in a few words. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. We all agree that we're all making progress. I mean, I don't like the way the prof keep putting his word. You know, like it's a fight going on. His Excellency, the governor, said the consultation is going on. What does prof mean by there's no consultation? Who are you consulting? The people there are being consulted. The governor and his fellow governors are making consultation. The party leader, the chairman, is making consultation. This thing is not a fiat. And I thank God that even the distinguished senator said is going to congregate to a consensus. Let's leave it at that. Instead of saying that, who are you consulting? Are you going to dismiss them with a wave of your left hand? Our democracy is maturing. And these things we cannot, posture like, is either my way or the highway. This is a democracy. And the leadership, the party chairman, understands that. That's why he didn't say it and just say it's either this. That's why he went back and started talking to the governors. The process is maturing. And we love what we are seeing. And thank God, I like the way His Excellency the Governor presented some other insider view. As they continue to consult, some of the people that were agitating for one position or another started withdrawing it. These are the products of consolidating the consultation. So people, and this is how the democracy is going to mature. And part of the things I said is that the party is trying to provide that leadership, or is providing the leadership by showing the members that have other interests that is outside what the party is projecting, that this is what we are trying to do. We want to graduate people from one position they are to the next level. We have a Senator Lawal that is the head for the party, the majority leader there. And we want him to move into and become the Senate president. And we have Femi, and the way they're doing it, they're trying to make it a logical transition. People are being consulted, and it's important so that the people, the members, and even the constituency, everyone know that people are being carried along. This is a democracy. Everybody is being carried along, and that is the beauty of it, and it's beautiful because our party knows that people need to be carried along. And that's what the argument is. And what we are saying and what we know is once the party stamps and said this is the final position, by the end of the day, before 11th is too far. By the time they get there, everybody will be on board.
Thank you very much, Ike Chilodu. It was nice having you on Tuesday Live. We enjoyed your thoughts from Lagos Network Center, and Ike Chilodu, for the benefit of our viewers, is an oil gas expert, member contractor mobilization, and member strategy committee for presidential campaign. Thank you so much. It was nice having you on Tuesday Live. Thank you. Back in Abuja, it is natural when we discuss like this. You have connections and disconnections, and that's the beauty of a discussion like this. Well, let me start from Ajay. We'll end up with His Excellency. Well, the beauty is that if you have a good sense of history, if you look backward, 1999 to date, you see a trend. Mm-hmm. We never saw this. So, quickly, in your concluding terms, imagine you're talking to people in the parliament ahead of the inauguration, giving the issue on ground. Yeah. In conclusion.
Well, the simple conclusion is that we should work as a team, we should work in harmony. And, well, if I'm a member of APC, I will not dissent, and I will toe the party line and vote for whoever the party has asked us to vote for. And to appeal to the opposition to be a good opposition, to cooperate with us, and then we move forward to the next level. What we are trying to do now is to ensure that we are engendering a new political culture that will endure for a very long time. And that is what we should be preaching, rather than stoking up opposition as if we have opposition politics. No. The PDP, they've had their time, and this is the time for APC. You cannot share, just as His Excellency said, and the distinguished senator said, you cannot win a majority in the House or in the Parliament, and you become a minority. I mean, that is a misnomer. So if I were to be a member of APC in the National Assembly, I'm going to toe the party line. Thank you.
Okay. Imagine now that we have gone this far. APC says, Senator Jibrin Barrow, please sustain the consultation, and you are before your colleagues. What are you doing now? What will you be doing?
Well, you see, I always said that what we need to do is to cooperate with the party, because the party wants to bring sanity into the exercise of electing leadership in the National Assembly, or even to sanitize the whole system. What we need to do is to cooperate with it, so that what the party wants is for us to work in tandem with international parliamentary best practices. It's not an arbitrary kind of arrangement. The template we are talking about is clearly crafted in line with what is happening all over the world in advanced democracies. So let's cooperate, because let's not think of how things were being done wrongly during the PDP administration. I was in PDP in the year 1999. I was in the House of Representatives. The whole way we did things then was in tandem with what is obtainable in other democracies in the world. But it changed the whole thing. For instance, when we elected Ibrahim Sansu Buhari to be the speaker, and later Gali Umar Abba, we did that through roll call. They will call your name, you say where you come from, where you came from then, and then you say your mind. Your people at home were viewing what you were doing. Okay? Now, but along the way, the PDP changed the mode of election in the House of Representatives to secret ballot. Okay? And now they try to bring that to the Senate, which was done wrongly, you understand. So what I'm trying to say is that let's toe the party line. The party means well for the totality of the people of this country, for the entire democracy. They want to really get us in line with what is done all over the world. Okay. So I'm for that, and I urge others to also be on this line.
Okay, Excellency,
yes.
Your closing thoughts tied to what we'll get, parliamentary politics.
Well, I think that to APC members, I think there should be, I will say that please be rest assured that what we saw, we will not see it again, because that is the beauty of democracy. Sometimes one way, somebody will come, he will use a technique, take you by surprise. We were taken by surprise the last time, but we will not be taken by surprise. And I said we've laid all the foundations. We are still going on with consultations. Time is still there. It's around 9th of June. So we are waiting for inauguration to finish. We've done a lot of committees in consultations. So we've gone far. I am very definitely sure by the time we get to the election, it will be a consensus election, because there will be no expect, maybe from PDP. And I'm sure PDP are waiting for that kind of opportunity. So if they want to contest, let them go and contest under PDP. But I am not sure it will be under APC that will have this thing again, because we are very disciplined, we are loyal members of the party, and we want to strengthen our party.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Starting with Senator Jibrin Barrow, it was nice having you on Tuesday Live.
It's a pleasure having you.
Also, Chief Michael Ajay, it was nice having you.
It's a pleasure.
And His Excellency,
Thank you very
Right
much.
Honorable Simon Along,
Thank
Governor
you.
of Plateau State. You have had a long day,
Thank
and
you.
we have kept you here.
Thank you
And
very
also
much.
to our gentlemen from Kaduna and Lagos, once again, thank you so much. Well, viewers, it's a countdown. And like we said at the beginning, a new government will take off on May 29, 2019. But the parliament, where we say the democracy will play out, will be after 9th June. And we believe that the rancor that we are guarding against will truly come to pass. And we believe that our line of thought has touched the hearts of a lot of persons. And on that day, everything will go as planned. Thanks for being there. On behalf of all of us, bye-bye.